3, 2, 1. The countdown echoes in Serafina Cross's mind as she sits perfectly still, her dark hair falling like a curtain over her face. To anyone watching, she appears to be counting down to surrender, maybe even to tears. The three boys surrounding her table seem to think so, their confident smirks growing wider. But they have no idea what those numbers really mean. In her world, in the discipline that has shaped her for 12 years, 321 isn't a countdown to defeat. It's the rhythm before explosive action. It's the calm before the storm they're about to unleash on themselves. 45 minutes earlier, Serafina Cross walks through the doors of Millbrook High School for the third time this week. The hallways still feel foreign. Her worn leather backpack, a gift from her father during better times, hangs heavy on her shoulder. The frayed edges mark her as different from the designer bags that populate these corridors. She keeps her emerald eyes downcast, not from shyness, but from observation. In 3 days, she's already mapped the social hierarchy, identified the power players, and located every exit. The cafeteria looms ahead. Sarah heads for an empty table in neutral territory. Her movements economical and precise. Years of martial arts training have taught her to be aware of every step, every gesture, every potential threat. As she unpacks her simple lunch, a peanut butter sandwich and an apple, she catches fragments of conversation. The usual high school drama unfolds around her. She's dealt with more serious problems lately than who's dating whom. Financial ruin has a way of putting teenage concerns into perspective. 3 tables away, Preston Blackwell leans back with the casual confidence of someone who has never questioned his place in the world. Tall and athletic with perfectly styled blonde hair and ice blue eyes, he commands attention without effort. As team captain and son of Mayor Richard Blackwell, Preston exists at the apex of the high school food chain. But there's something calculating in his gaze as he watches the new girl. "Crew, pull up what you found on the transfer student," Preston says quietly to the lean boy with wire-rimmed glasses beside him. Crew Thornfield, son of the local newspaper editor, has a talent for information gathering that borders on invasive. "Serafina Cross, 17, transferred from Austin, Texas. Father Michael Cross, former petroleum engineer, terminated from Lanier Energy 3 months ago amid allegations of safety violations. Family declared bankruptcy 2 weeks before the move. Current residence is the Riverside Apartments complex." The Riverside Apartments. Preston's lips curve into a cold smile. Everyone in Millbrook knows about Riverside, the government-subsidized housing complex where hope goes to die. "Interesting background," Preston murmurs. Crew dig deeper. "I want to know everything about Miss Cross before lunch ends." Sarah takes a small bite of her sandwich, completely unaware of the digital invasion occurring 3 tables away. The peanut butter sticks to the roof of her mouth, but she forces herself to chew slowly, methodically. Food has become precious since the bankruptcy. Her phone buzzes softly. A text from her mother asking if she's eating okay. Sarah types back quickly. "Everything's fine, Mom. Focus on your interview." The light comes easily now. "Found something interesting," Crew announces quietly. "She's not just some random transfer student. Serafina Cross has been training in Taekwondo since age 5, multiple state championships in Texas. But here's the fascinating part. She was involved in an incident 3 years ago. Accidentally injured another student during a sparring match. The girl ended up with a broken wrist and a concussion." Preston's eyes narrow. "What else?" "The injury incident was covered up by her old dojang. The other girl's family threatened to press charges, but settled out of court. That's probably why she stopped competing. Oh, and get this. Her father's termination from Lanier Energy wasn't just about safety violations. There are rumors he was stealing company property to sell, but they couldn't prove it." Maxon cracks his knuckles, a sound that carries clearly across the cafeteria. So we're dealing with a violent criminal from a family of thieves. Allegedly, Preston corrects with a smile that doesn't reach his eyes. But allegations can be very powerful when shared with the right people at the right time. He stands up slowly. Time to welcome our new student to Millbrook High properly. Sarah notices the movement in her peripheral vision. 3 figures approaching her table in a formation that feels too deliberate to be casual. Her chopsticks pause halfway to her mouth as training kicks in. Assess the situation. Identify potential threats. Plan escape routes. Preston reaches her table first, his smile perfectly calibrated to appear friendly. Mind if we join you? I'm Preston Blackwell, student body president and captain of the basketball team. He doesn't wait for permission before pulling out the chair directly across from her. Crew takes the seat to her left, while Maxon positions himself to her right, completing the triangle that transforms casual conversation into interrogation. Serafina Cross, she responds quietly. I prefer Sarah. Sarah from Texas, Preston repeats. How are you finding our little town so far? Must be quite different from Austin. I imagine the Riverside apartments are especially different from whatever you're used to. The casual mention of her address sends ice water through Sarah's veins. She hasn't told anyone at school where she lives. It's fine, she manages. Oh, I'm sure it is, Crew interjects with false sympathy. Moving from a nice suburban neighborhood to government housing must be quite an adjustment, especially after your father's situation at law and your energy. Sarah's breath catches. The details of her father's termination were supposed to be confidential. I don't know what you're talking about. Of course you don't, Preston says smoothly. It must be difficult having a father who can't provide for his family properly. Some might even say irresponsible, but I'm sure the allegations about the missing equipment were completely unfounded. The word allegations hits like a physical blow. Maxon leans forward. Must be tough going from comfortable to charity case overnight. Families going through difficult transitions. Preston continues, his tone becoming more condescending. Of course, some transitions are harder than others, especially when there are other complications to consider. Crew makes a show of reading from his laptop. Speaking of complications, I came across some interesting information about your martial arts background. Quite impressive, really. Multiple championships, but then there was that incident with Sarah Martinez at the Austin Taekwondo Academy. Broken wrist, concussion, potential lawsuit. Sarah's face goes pale. Sarah Martinez had been her sparring partner and friend. The accident had been exactly that, an accident. Accidents happen, she whispers. Oh, absolutely. Preston agrees with false warmth. Accidents happen all the time, especially when people with violent tendencies get stressed or cornered. The important thing is making sure everyone stays safe. He leans forward. That's why I think we should be friends, Sarah. Good friends look out for each other. They make sure uncomfortable information doesn't accidentally get shared with the wrong people. The thread hangs in the air. Sarah understands now that this isn't random bullying. This is calculated manipulation, a systematic attack designed to break her down. What do you want? She asks directly. Preston's smile widens. Smart girl. I have some academic challenges this semester. Advanced calculus, AP history, college-level chemistry. Subjects that require someone with real intelligence to navigate successfully. You want me to do your homework? I prefer to think of it as tutoring. You help me maintain my GPA, and I help you maintain your privacy. Everyone wins. And if I refuse? Crew's fingers hover over his keyboard with theatrical menace. Well, it would be terrible if people found out about your family's financial crimes. Or if the school administration learned they have a student with a history of violence. My dad's always interested in hearing about potential troublemakers. Maxon adds. Kids from broken homes who might be acting out. The walls are closing in. I need to think about it, she says finally. Preston checks his expensive watch. Of course. Let's say until the end of lunch. That gives you about 15 minutes to consider your options. He stands up. Oh, and Sarah, just so we understand each other completely, this arrangement would be exclusive. Your academic talents belong to me alone. As the three boys move away, Sarah sits frozen. Her phone buzzes again. Another message from her mother. Interview went well. Keeping fingers crossed. Love you, sweetheart. The simple expression of love creates a stark contrast to the nightmare she's currently living. Her mother is fighting to rebuild their lives while Sarah sits trapped. The unfairness creates a burning sensation in her chest that has nothing to do with fear and everything to do with rage. 15 minutes. Preston has given her 15 minutes to decide between slavery and destruction. But as she sits there counting down the seconds, Sarah begins to realize that maybe she's been thinking about this all wrong. Maybe the choice isn't between surrender and ruin. Maybe there's a third option. Her fingers drum silently against the table in a familiar rhythm. 3, 2, 1. The countdown that always preceded her most decisive moments in competition. The final minutes of lunch period tick away. Preston returns to his table with the confidence of someone who has already won. They think they've broken her. They have no idea what 12 years of martial arts training has taught her about fighting back. Time's up, Sarah, Preston announces as he reaches her table. This time, he doesn't sit. Instead, he looms over her, using his height advantage to create psychological pressure. Have you reached a decision about our arrangement? Sarah looks up at him, her green eyes steady. When she speaks, her voice carries quiet calm. I've reached a decision. Excellent. I knew you'd see reason. I'm not doing your homework, Preston. The words drop into the silence, like stones into still water. Preston's smile falters before returning, colder and more dangerous. That's unfortunate. I was hoping we could resolve this amicably. He gestures to Crew, who immediately begins typing. Crew clears his throat and begins reading in a voice designed to carry. Serafina Cross, daughter of suspected thief Michael Cross, former resident of Austin, Texas, where she was involved in a violent incident that sent another student to the hospital. Stop, Sarah says, but her voice is lost in Crew's recitation. Currently residing in government-subsidized housing after her family's financial collapse due to criminal allegations. Other students are starting to turn toward the commotion. This is what public humiliation feels like. This is how Preston destroys people. Preston holds up a hand. Of course, this is all just information that came up during casual conversation. His eyes glitter with malicious satisfaction. Unless, of course, there are other incidents we should be concerned about. You're sick, she whispers. I'm practical, Preston corrects. Last chance, Sarah. Do we have an agreement? The cafeteria has grown quieter. In this moment, suspended between public humiliation and private surrender, Sarah makes a decision that will change everything. Actually, Preston says with sudden inspiration, before you answer, let me help clarify your situation even further. Without warning, he reaches out and knocks over his own water bottle, sending its contents cascading across the table directly onto Sarah's phone. The device sparks once and goes dark. Sarah gasps and grabs for it, but the damage is already done. Oops, Preston says with mock concern. How clumsy of me. I'm sure that wasn't your only phone, though. They don't. Sarah's phone was their single lifeline, the device her mother used to coordinate job interviews. Don't worry, Preston continues. I'm sure your parents will understand when you explain how their daughter's anger management issues led to this unfortunate incident. That's when Sarah understands the true depth of Preston's manipulation. He's created a narrative where she'll be blamed for its destruction.
Please,
She whispers.
I need this to talk to my family. Then maybe you should have been more cooperative,
Preston says.
but don't worry. This situation is easily fixable. All you have to do is apologize properly. Apologize for what? For falsely accusing me of destroying your phone on purpose, for letting your anger get the better of you, for causing a scene.
He gestures toward the growing circle.
A public apology on your knees.
The demand hits Sarah like a physical blow. Kneeling in front of Preston would be the ultimate humiliation. A complete surrender that would establish her as his property in front of the entire school. Around them, more students gather. Cell phones appear, ready to document whatever comes next. Sarah looks at her dead phone, at Preston's triumphant expression, at the circle of faces waiting to see how this confrontation ends. In this moment, she feels something shift inside her chest. The fear and anxiety transform into something cleaner and more familiar. 3, 2, 1. The countdown begins in her mind, just like it always did before her most important matches. But this time it's not counting down to surrender point zero. The word never comes. Instead, 12 years of discipline training explode into motion as Preston reaches toward her. What happens next unfolds in the space between heartbeats. Sarah rises from her chair in a single smooth motion. Preston's hand, reaching to force her down, meets empty air as she pivots on her left foot. The movement places her at the perfect angle. Her right leg snaps upward in a spinning kick that carries all the power of her compressed fury. The heel of her sneaker connects with Preston's jaw with a crack that echoes across the suddenly silent cafeteria. His confident expression dissolves into shock, then pain, then unconsciousness as he crumples to the floor. Crew barely has time to register what's happening before Sarah's momentum carries her into the second phase. Her left elbow drives backward into his solar plexus, doubling him over as his laptop crashes to the ground. The screen shatters against the tile floor. Maxon lunges towards Sarah. She drops low, sweeping his legs out from under him. His bulk works against him as gravity takes over, sending him crashing into an empty chair that collapses under his weight. 15 seconds, 3 opponents. Complete victory. Sarah stands in the center of the devastation, her chest rising and falling with controlled breaths. Around her, the cafeteria has transformed into a gallery of shocked faces and raised smartphones. Preston groans and tries to push himself up. Blood trickles from the corner of his mouth.
You psycho,
he slurs.
You actually attacked us. Everyone saw it.
Sarah looks down at him with calm.
Everyone saw you destroy my phone and try to force me to my knees. What they saw after that was self-defense.
The approaching sound of adult voices cuts through the murmur. Teachers are pushing through the crowd now. Principal Martinez reaches the scene first.
Everyone back up. Give them space to breathe.
Her eyes take in the scene.
Miss Cross, please step away from the other students.
Sarah complies immediately. She offers no resistance as Principal Martinez guides her toward an empty table.
This is all documented,
Preston says, his voice stronger now.
She attacked 3 students without provocation. There are dozens of witnesses and probably 50 videos by now.
Principal Martinez nods grimly.
Yes, Mr. Blackwell. I'm aware that this incident has been thoroughly recorded, which means we'll have a complete picture of everything that happened, including the events leading up to Miss Cross's actions.
The implication hangs in the air. Preston's confident expression wavers as he realizes that video evidence cuts both ways. Over the following days, the video of Sarah's counterattack spreads through social media with viral intensity. She becomes an overnight sensation, praised by some as a hero who stood up to bullies, and condemned by others as a dangerous student. But the viral fame comes with consequences. The Blackwell family, with their political connections and substantial resources, mobilizes a legal team. They file both criminal assault charges and a civil lawsuit, claiming that Sarah's actions were premeditated and excessive. They dig up the incident with Sarah Martinez from 3 years ago, presenting it as evidence of a pattern. Her father's termination becomes public record. Media outlets run segments about school safety, using her case as an example of how martial arts training might make students more dangerous. Child Services opens an investigation. The school board makes the decision that devastates Sarah's hopes. She is suspended pending investigation, then quietly transferred to Riverside Alternative School, the district's last stop for students who can't function in traditional educational environments. Riverside Alternative serves students with behavioral problems, learning disabilities, and legal troubles. For Sarah, who had maintained a 3.8 GPA, the transfer feels like educational exile. But the real punishment begins on her first day when she realizes that her viral fame has followed her.
"So you're the spinning kick girl,"
says Marcus Rivera, a senior with gang tattoos.
"Heard you drop 3 dudes at once. That true?"
Sarah tries to ignore him, but the cramped hallways make avoidance impossible. Other students gather around, hungry for entertainment.
"Come on, don't be shy,"
Marcus continues.
"Show us what you got." "I just want to go to class,"
Sarah says quietly.
"Class can wait,"
another voice calls.
"We want to see if the videos were real or just lucky shots."
This is the consequence no one predicted. Sarah's display of skill hasn't earned her respect. It's made her a target for every student who wants to test themselves against the legend. The teachers can't be everywhere at once. During lunch, bathroom breaks, and walks between classes, Sarah finds herself constantly surrounded by students who want to provoke her. Some openly challenge her to fights. Others use psychological pressure. A few simply follow her around.
"This is what you wanted, isn't it?"
asks Jennifer Walsh, a girl with multiple piercings.
"You wanted everyone to know how tough you are. Well, congratulations. Now everybody wants a piece of the action."
Sarah realizes with growing horror that her moment of justified self-defense has trapped her in a cycle of violence she never wanted. Every day brings new challenges. New students who see her as either a threat to be neutralized or a reputation to be claimed. At home, the situation isn't much better. Her father's job search has become even more difficult as potential employers find news articles about his daughter's violent incident. Her mother faces questions from coworkers.
"Maybe we should move again,"
Michael suggests one evening.
"Start over somewhere else."
But Sarah knows that running won't solve the problem. The videos are permanent. Her face is recognizable now. Her story part of internet folklore. There's nowhere they can go where someone won't eventually recognize her. The crushing irony isn't lost on her. She defended herself perfectly, executed techniques with flawless precision, and won a victory that should have ended the threat. Instead, that victory has made her a permanent target. As she lies in bed in their cramped apartment, listening to sirens wail through the night, Sarah understands that her 3-second moment of triumph has sentenced her to a lifetime of being hunted. The girl who just wanted to eat lunch in peace has become the girl who will never know peace again. The phone beside her bed buzzes with another notification. Someone else has shared the video, tagged her in a post, or sent a message challenging her. She turns off the device and stares at the ceiling. Preston Blackwell got his revenge after all. He may have lost their physical confrontation, but he won the war by forcing her to become exactly what he claimed she always was. A weapon that can't be put away. A fighter who will never be allowed to stop fighting. The countdown in her head begins again, but this time it's not preparing for action. 3, 2, 1. It's counting down the moments until her old life disappears completely, until the quiet girl from Texas becomes nothing more than a memory overwhelmed by the legend She never wanted to create I in the darkness of her room. Sarah Cross closes her eyes and wishes she had never learned to fight at all.